guys, this is Emma from Exercises for Injuries and Lifelong Wellness. Yesterday I went for a mountain bike ride. I actually ride a couple times a week, well, more like 3 or 4 times a week. And oftentimes after a bike ride, I have tight hips, my glutes are tight, and I need to stretch out after my workouts. So I encourage you to try these with me if you have tight hips from hiking, running, walking, sitting, stationary bike, mountain biking, cycling, whatever. If your hips are tight, if your hips are hurting, give these a go. So this is what I usually start in, kind of like a nice tall pose. I reach out, I bend down, I come into a squat, do it again, use my breath, come back down, reach one leg back, right or left leg, and just hold it here for a little bit. Get a nice long stretch. You have your hands nice firmly on the ground, you have your foot down, and hold it right here. If you find this challenging, drop it to one knee, make sure you use a yoga mat, and just kind of relax here and wiggle. If you find a little spot that, you know, it's a little tight, wiggle with your hips and move back. Doesn't mean you have to just hold it here. So I come back up and repeat to the other side. So typically one hip will be tighter than the other. We are obviously not balanced. And anybody that tells you that symmetry is possible, it's just an illusion. Our bodies will always be different. So I find particularly in my hips here, it's very tight from pedaling. So I'm just gonna stay here a little bit. To increase the stretch, I come up here and I actually tighten this glute. So if I tighten this glute, and the reason why I'm touching it is by bringing awareness to it. Bringing awareness to it recruits that muscle. So right now, because I feel tightness in here, the way I'm gonna release this front hip flexor and psoas from cycling and mountain biking is by tightening this glute. These two work in opposition, so if you tighten this, this will release. So now that I feel a better stretch, I definitely feel like they're tight, looser than they were before. Come back into a nice hit, like a nice kind of a supported squat, and reach back up. So that's the first start. I'm going to go through 2 more of those, and you can call this a bit of a yoga stretch, mobility, strength move. Sometimes I nice to reach out to this one side, come back, and you'll usually find a part of your body that is tight and you can give it a little extra attention. And I'm going to use this fun gadget. I love using a roller to stretching hips. They come in different sizes. They come in, you can get ones that are just the small that you can actually travel with. They come in different firmness. This one here is fairly hard, so it's going to give you really good release. So I've incorporated these for my hips too. So what I usually do is I put one leg over it and I bring it right above my knee. You don't want to place it where the knee is. So if you'll notice that it's right around my thigh area, and I just stay here for a little extra support. I roll back, and it's giving me support, but it's also giving me ability to stretch on the front body here. Again, I tighten this glute so I can release the front, and this feels really good in the hip area, in the glute. It feels actually really nice to have a little massage on my quad and on my VMO, vastus medialis. And then oftentimes I like to stretch one side. This gets tight so that I like to reach up and stretch, because when we mountain bike or ride a bike, we hold on to handlebars. So everything can get tight, especially if you do it a few times. Okay, so I come back here and then I switch with the other leg. Again, I roll it. Oh, that feels good. And it doesn't necessarily have to be low on the quad, it can be higher up. So if you find you can bring it higher up if you need a little extra rolling onto the higher part of your quadriceps. And this feels wonderful. Reach this side. Use your breath. You know, you take a nice deep inhale with your belly breathing, so you exhale on the release, and then inhale when you're about to stretch. Okay, so I have nice stretch into my hips, and I am going to do a few sun salutations and then stretch the back side as well, the front side. So deep inhale, exhale, come to a nice lunge, hold, open it up to a warrior one. Feel this right in here. Focus on pushing your knee out to make sure it doesn't come inwards. Nice. This leg, you don't want to lock your knee, but you definitely want to tighten your glute, and you want to squeeze your quadricep. And you can come out here to open stance and push your hips back, hinge forward, and hold it right here. Move from side to side. I feel this on the outside. I feel this on the inside of my adductors, inner thighs. You can even bring your feet in a little bit, grip with your toes, the mat, and get to a nice low baby squat. Babies do this all the time, and it feels really good. So don't be afraid to just keep here for a while. You can even grab the roller to hold a little bit extra support. This feels really good. I also get a nice stretch into my Achilles, into my peroneus, my front of my calves. Okay, so back out. I did a warrior one on this side. I'm going to come back to the middle. I'm going to do a warrior one on this side. So same thing, knees pushing out. You want to stack your spine, your neck is nice aligned, neutral spine. Flex this quad. Make sure your knee is not locked, it's nice and soft, but the quads are strong. And tighten your core, tighten your glutes, and you push out. Hold here, go back, get a nice stretch on the front side here and the side, and then back into a lunge here, hold it for a little bit, and then bring your leg back down. Okay, don't be afraid to go into a child's pose. If you ever feel out of breath, or this is challenging, or something doesn't feel comfortable, or you just want to take a break, this is awesome. And when I do a child's pose, I stretch on my hands, grip the mat, so I can get a nice stretch onto my back, and I push my butt back towards my heels, and I stay here and breathe. Forehead on the mat. The wider the hips are, obviously the more of a stretch you'll get. And I find it easier for women too, because their hips are wider, for the knees to be out wider. If you can't sit and kneel like this because of a knee problem or knee replacement or knee injuries, then don't do this. Just even staying here is really, really, really good. And then move forward and back and hold. Okay, so now that we're down on the mat, I like to do a few seated stretches and kind of taking the lower part of my body down to the mat. So the one that I'll begin with is a pigeon pose. So I'm not very flexible. I used to be flexible, and before I ran a lot, and I was able at the time to bring my knee and my shin 90 degrees and then this hip back down, but I'm not able to do that, and that's okay. So now I work with my body, and I just maybe bring my shin and my knee closer in, and I feel it right here. If you do need more support, grab this. You can grab a pillow or a bolster ball. You can grab anything that gives you a little bit of support if you don't have a roller, and then just hold it right here, and this feels really good. Okay, then I bring my leg around. I get a nice stretch right onto the right side of my quad, my IT band. Pull my knee in towards me and breathe. Get a nice twist. And bring my leg back. And switch. And I wiggle because it feels really good for my glute and my hip on this side to just move the body. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. And I come back around with this leg, get a nice stretch in here, nice and tall, stack your spine, neutral neck, hold here, look back, use this right arm against the left leg as leverage to pull, and then you push against here. Take a deep breath. Release on the exhale. And that feels really, really good. Okay. So now I walk my feet back. One last deep squat. I love these baby squats. They're the best. Nice deep squat again. Reach up. And that's it.